Switching topics now to something that sparks a more serious fear in parents. More and more teens are getting caught up in sexting or sending sexually suggestive messages through texts, emails, and social media outlets, and they're getting better and better at hiding it. I think that's the real scary part. So we've asked Deseret News columnist Amy Iverson to open our eyes to this world and teach us how to recognize if our own kids are involved. And the statistics don't ease our fears here.
No, and the stories, you've seen them in the news, but nationally for teenagers, so 13 to 18, almost 40% of teenagers have sent some sort of sexually suggestive message or photo. When you're talking about photos and videos, girls do it a little more than boys, but 20%, 21% of girls and 18% of boys have either sent or texted a nude or a semi-nude photo.
Do they understand what they're doing? Do they understand the severity of what they're doing?
I hope they don't, because I would hope they wouldn't do it if they did. And so that's our job as parents, right, to help them understand the severity.
Well, and it's not just the moral implications, there's legal implications to this.
Yes, very serious ones. And I know even my 5th grader at his middle school, they had someone just barely come and tell them about the criminal prosecution that they could face for it. It's more serious, of course, if you're 18 and up, but even 16 and 17-year-olds, Utah does have a sexting law. So only 20 states do. If they don't have one, you're under child pornography laws, which are much more harsh. But in Utah, 16 and 17, you're facing a misdemeanor, a little less so if you're 16 and under still a misdemeanor. But we're talking big fines and possibly jail time.
And kids are really good, as you know, as I know, at hiding this.
Yeah.
In fact, there's almost a secret code, if you will, a secret sexting language.
There are some, and I run these by teenagers I know, and they say they have seen these. So I think you have some of these, but they're like sneaky ways to write the word sex. For, say it's a 5 and a 3 and an X. Okay. Who would know that? I mean, you're just thinking it's gibberish when you're looking at their texts. LH6 is another one that is very popular. These come from a website that searches for, it's an app that searches for these terms to alert parents.
GNOC?
Get naked on camera.
Okay.
Is that one. And then this one, I mean, I had my own word. I would say bubbles to my friends on the phone if my parents were in the room. This is how they're letting each other know, hey, my parents aren't around. 99. Good to know these terms, and there's more in my column.
So just to be aware, if you see those flying back and forth on your child's text message log.
Yeah, and if you see texts that you don't know what they mean, acronyms like that, find out.
How are you checking this, though? What do you recommend parents do to stay up to speed on the actual messages that are being swapped back and forth?
Well, I mean, you can get one of those apps that searches everyone. My method has just been to randomly grab my kids' phones and look at texts. So, I mean, you have to decide with your kids and let them know kind of this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be checking your texts. There's extreme and there's not so much, and you just have to decide how much you want to do with your kids.
The important takeaway here, though, is the conversation that we should be having regularly with our children.
Well, yeah, and I think that as soon as any of your kids have unaccompanied access to an electronic gadget. So when they get their phone, or if you let them play on the computer by themselves, we know this happens in chat rooms, this happens in instant messaging, you need to have the conversation. My kid's in 5th grade and his school talked to him about it, you know what I'm saying? So you have to have that conversation and be open, because I guarantee you they know more than you think they do.
Can I take a turn really quickly?
Yeah.
Last week we saw some high school students come under fire for a video that was posted, that was shared, that contained racial slurs. We don't know the nature of how that was posted, right, or what went behind the making of that video.
They thought it would say something fun backwards or something.
Something to that effect. And again, we don't know how it was shared. However, talking to teens I know and love, it brought up the conversation of secret Instagram pages. This is a thing. How do you know if your child has a secret Instagram page?
Well, it's called a Finsta, and I talked to Courtney about it when you were on maternity leave, I think. But this is something most kids have a Finsta. And the only way for you to know, the way you can find out is looking at who their friends follow. And maybe you see another picture of your kid that you're like, oh, I didn't know they had that account. Or the other way is if you've taken my advice and a lot of people's advice that you have their password so that you can log on to their Instagram once in a while. Then it's just on Instagram, your profile picture is in the right lower hand corner. When you hold that down, other accounts will pop up. So like I have an account for my booster club and for this, but kids are having their normal account. When you hold it down, other accounts show up and it'll show you if they have a Finsta account.
Amy, thanks for keeping us on point and helping us out. More terms you mentioned in your column from last week's Deseret News. How can we access that?
DeseretNews.com/Amy.
Thanks again.